France, Felix Rivera, and then we'll go into interventions. Mike Braniff, Parks and Recreation. Steve Rakey's Parks and Recreation.
Luis Lemos, Horticulturist.
Kathy Kalamaha, Horticultural Gardener.
Richard Ladd, Gardener 3.
Oh, we have one.
And then I think we have Assembly Member Austin Quinn Davidson +1 joining us. Awesome. All right, well, I'll go ahead and turn it back to the staff. Thank you so much for taking us through this amazing facility.
Thank you. And welcome.
Pat, you want to walk us around and show us a few things? Or?
Sure. So we'll start in the tropical part of the greenhouse, which is where we are in here. So majority of all the plants that are in here are going to be in containers. We have a variety of things from citrus fruits that actually Mike Grant are one of our grapefruits that we have here. We have a pineapple, we have papayas, but we also do have like other tropical things like hibiscus. We have a powdered puff tree. So it's kind of an eclectic version of different things. But one of the benefits of our greenhouse is what we were talking about a little bit ago is that we are doing classes now. So we're going to be doing a houseplants class 102 to teach people in the community how to take care of the houseplants that they have, how if they've gotten overly big, how to prune them, how to divide them, so they can further their knowledge. So we're trying to make this into more like also a classroom session, as well as being just a great place for the public to be able to come to. So we do story times here at sometimes during the week where parents come in with their toddlers and have books read to them. People do wedding venues here. So it's definitely got a nice eclectic view of different things that we can pull together and do here. So to kind of walk around just to get a little bit of a thing. One of the plants I'm going to point out above my head, most people wouldn't recognize it. That is an asparagus. Most people don't think of that as what it would look like, but if you kind of look towards the end, you'll see that that's eventually what the food that you would normally eat would turn into had it been able to grow to its full potential versus being cut off and then put on a plate. It's very tasty though. So there are things that we try to help people learn that we have right behind our leaves. We have two different types of poinsettias. We grow those in our summertime. These are two plants that we decided to keep. One is obviously bigger than the other. The pink one was kind of an anomaly out of the ones that we grew this summer, and we liked it so much that we decided to keep it. And we actually have tried to start propagating it so that we can just see what happens with it. But those are things that we do throughout the season that we do try to bring in here. During the wintertime, we just had finished our poinsettia crop, and you'll see those items like down at City Hall, at the Lucette Library, and some of our recreational facilities that we add to doing for our kind of more Christmas things versus our summer stuff. So to kind of walk around, I guess we'll go by cactuses first and then kind of move along the way. So this is kind of our cactus collection. A lot of this stuff was been donated to us over time. I believe some of the cactuses on the far south end are ones that actually came from Mann Leiser's greenhouse because he had a quite an eclectic version of cactuses. I actually personally have a cactus that came from his greenhouse back in the 90s that I've kept for quite a while. But there's just a bunch of variety of different things from common stuff that people have in their house, kind of like the burro's tail, to more unique items that people grow and then they get too big and they don't know what to do with them anymore. So we are happy to give some of these items homes, and so they're just fun things and just different varieties of what people may or may not be able to grow in their own house.
Before we continue, I just want to note for the record that we've been joined by Assembly Chair Suzanne LaFrance and Vice Chair Christopher Constant. I'll officially turn over the reins to Suzanne.
Great, Felix. So to continue on, we have begonias here on this table. We have a couple different varieties of begonias, everything from Rex begonias, which are our more colorful leaf pattern ones, to what they call the angel wing begonia because of the shape of the leaf. We also have some of the ones that we tend to grow for our seasonals. This is one of our encore begonias as well as an illumination begonia. So we try to show things that we have that we grow just for the beauty of it as well as items that we grow for our summer crops. This is one of my favorite trees here in this greenhouse, which is called the morning, noon, and night tree. It blooms off purple initially, and then the petals fade to white on the flower. So it kind of shows that changing of the time, which is just a really kind of a neat thing. If you want to continue down this way. We also have things as blue ginger, which a lot of people wouldn't think of having ginger as a plant We also have a white one on the far side, which I actually love as in bloom because it smells like jasmine and it's just breathtaking. It's like the perk of my job being able to smell that. We also have a sweet potato vine, which a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think of as being as a plant, but it is used in horticulture things for being a decorative item, for having binding on it. Most people will recognize the pothos. That's kind of a common plant that a lot of people, if you're a first-time plant person, this is like the one plant you can grow that you can't kill. I mean, you can be pretty harsh to this plant and it will continue. So we just have a lot of different things that we can show people. We do a lot of cuttings of these, and that's part of our propagation, where you can do a simple cutting. You just take an end piece, put it in some water, and I can guarantee it'll root in a few days. Like, it's a really easy piece for someone to learn how to do that stuff. So that's one thing that we do like to be able to share, and that's actually going to be something that we will be showing some of our students tonight in our class. And if we continue down, this is kind of where we get into some of the more fun, unique things. We have our sago palms, which are not a really common plant to have here. We also have a bird of paradise, which you may be able to see does have sunflowers on it right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Felix. We also have a coffee plant, and which does have coffee beans on it. And so there's just a bunch of neat things that we can grow here that are just items like our greenhouse. We also do have larger things, such as our corn plant here, as well as the ficus that's right behind us, that are just, they've been here for a while. There are some items on our back wall. We have 2 staghorn ferns, which are older than I am. I think they were some of the original plants that came to this greenhouse when it was built in the late 80s, early 90s. So they've been around for a while, but they're thriving, they're doing great. But it just kind of shows that there are some items, especially like our agave, our yucca plant, that they are massive. They have been here a long time. And it shows really, in a sense, like how long this collection has been around. And it's really impressive that we can keep these things going as well as being able to add new things to our collections. We do have a bunch of hibiscus plants, which are kind of a common item. I can show you one of them. Unfortunately, none of them are in bloom right now. So this is a hibiscus right here. So I know some people would probably recognize that for being tea, or just for the flower when they go to Hawaii and things like that. Let's see
What are these? We all have these in our office.
These are ZZs. So
Yeah.
these are like, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the actual Latin name of it. We call them ZZs. They are a tough plant. Like, they are something that grows really well. You don't have to water it a lot, and so it's something that does very well. I know one of our other staff, Shanna, she's just recently got one for her office as well. So, like, there's something, same thing with this.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
They're tough plants. Like, those are plants that are really easy to grow. Those plants that do very well even in low light conditions, and there's something that obviously is really like,
Yeah.
they do very well for being a simple plant.
Yeah.
I call it a ZZ because it's got a very long name. I can't even pronounce it.
We should get one of those for you, Suzanne.
Don't I think that you have to know everything. This is also an elephant ear. A lot of people would probably recognize that as well. So we try to have things that people are more common, as well as kind of neat things. This is called a filmy fig.
Oh, yeah, fig.
So you can kind of tell by the shape of the tree or the leaf. And then over by our Gardner Ridge, that is going to be a rubber plant, which is still a part of the same ficus
This
family.
one right
Yeah,
here?
that
I have one of those at my house.
This is the white ginger, which I wish was in bloom right now because it is heavenly when it blooms. This is another type of the fern. It's called leatherleaf. Some people would recognize this when you get a floral bouquet. That this is the type of a fern that usually typically goes into that.
Yeah.
The 2 staghorn ferns that was mentioned.
Oh, that are older than the 80s? Oh my gosh.
They've been here for quite some time. Yeah, we definitely have. We also have a pineapple right behind you.
Oh.
So
That is so cute. I love how I thought out in the wild, not wild, but like commercial or whatever, I thought they grow closer to the ground.
they typically do because
Okay.
these plants are so much older.
Got it.
Usually, they'll start to go up and up because they're going to start a new fruit bud. off of like the older part of the plant. A lot of those ones, like they get new plants, and so once they harvest it, it goes back down to the ground. There's actually a grapefruit just right here.
It's so funny when you see these
But
growing.
Braniff, my
fields
Braniff,
of-
our director, he actually started that from seed, and so
Wow.
Oh, really? So he's a
Star
plant.
fruit.
He's a plant
So
guy.
he's a plant guy. Like
Okay,
he's
good
definitely
to know.
he's done some very experimental things when he was here on compound with us.
Ooh,
and he
hear that?
brought stuff down and been like, "You can make for my office anymore. Now I gotta put it in here." So we moved a lot of things. We had a star fruit. We did a lemon, and then we did the grapefruit. The grapefruit, unfortunately, that's one of the only ones that's really thrived and made it so far. We also have papayas. We usually will start one and then we'll start another one shortly thereafter because you can see how tall they get, but they are fruiting. And so that is another great thing that is kind of fun to be able to show people that you can grow your own fruits and vegetables. It's definitely something that does kind of be able to help show people that you can have fun with it. And I always tell people, like, with your gardening, definitely try to have fun with stuff. That's something that I always advise. I kill way more plants than any other plant.
Yeah.
This is called a Clydia.
Oh,
And that one's got a nice little bloom on the center of it. This is actually a Loki vine, or it's otherwise known as passion fruit. So we try to do neat things. We also have a plumeria that one of our staff brought back from Hawaii when they came back on a trip. So we try to do things that are fun. This is a different type of a geranium than what most people would say. It's a scented geranium. So it actually smells like citronella. We also have another one that smells like peppermint. So we try to have like things that are a little bit more familiar, but also a little bit different. We kind of have more like your standard shade plant, like a lot of people would typically have. And then we have an aloe, which is actually about to bloom. They put out really pretty like yellow spikes. I know a lot of people don't ever really think of an aloe as being a blooming plant, but you can definitely tell that there are some neat things. We have the cathedral cactus, which that is also 30 plus years old. That's the really tall
I
guy.
have
We
one of
had
those.
a yucca that we recently just cut, and we're actually trying to reroot some of the pieces. So we are doing some experiments. Like that's something that we do like to try here, is new things and seeing what works and what we can actually do to help propagate stuff and keep things here going and just kind of keeping things new and fresh and having fun with stuff here, because that's a part of it. You have a question?
I do. So I had an aloe plant in my office.
Uh-huh.
It broke and fell over.
Okay.
All the leaves fell off.
Okay.
As far as propagation, I mean, I see it has some.
So this is a flower blossom that's going to come off of it.
And I mean, can you just stick them in water?
So these ones, I wouldn't recommend just sticking in water. You can take, like, if you have a plant, like you can see that this one has a bunch of little side buds, or like this one you have like a little side cup on the side. Those guys you can break off and then just put it on top of moist soil. And just keep the soil moist, don't overwater it, it will root. Like you can vary it a tiny little bit, like let's say maybe like a half inch at most, it'll start to root. Like they're pretty amazing on how well they thrive and how you can continue to grow.
Okay. But as far as
Yeah, I mean, yeah, once you break into like the fleshy tissue, it's going to be really hard to try to get that to root. There are some plants you can do that. I honestly don't think you can do it. You're going to have to start off with like a little cup or something like that to get it to go. Yeah, absolutely. So this is the plumeria that we have that was brought back from Hawaii from one of our staff members. So we definitely try to have fun new things. This is kind of our area that we call our research spot. So right now I have some fungus cuttings that we're trying to root out. One of them came from the tree that's in the mayor's office. This is a cutting that we just did of that one pink poinsettia that we had over when we first started. And so we also are doing a bunch of water cuttings to show for our class that we're teaching how it is that you can see. And if you want to look, you can see that all we did was stick these in water and they grow roots on them. So there are new and different ways that you can propagate plants and make it really simple to where we are trying to teach people how to do these processes and be able to pass that knowledge. A lot of people are more going to be interested in doing the backyard gardening or having house plants because it does give a way to study here. So we do have two hibiscus as well. And this is one of my favorites. It's called a powder puff tree. Unfortunately, most of its blooms have spit through it. Oh, actually, there's one over here on the side. I call it almost like the Dr. Seuss tree.
because it's just such a whimsical, fun
fireworks.
thing. Then this is our
Woo.
agave. No, this is the yucca. This
Okay.
is the yucca. The agave's over there. The agave's got sharp thorns on the side of it. This guy's probably got to be almost 40 years old. Like,
Wow.
So you can tell, I mean, it's not only as big as it is, but it's definitely been here for quite a while, which really shows how long this facility's been here. A lot of people don't realize that there was an expansion done, but you can definitely tell there are some, like, you know, areas that could be improved and updated, but we do everything that we can. I know sometimes we have issues with our windows sliding down, and because they're such thin windows, we don't push them back up. We just have a greenhouse plastic that we cover them back over
Oh.
with. Because the risk of breaking
The ingenuity of municipal
employees.
employees.
Like, so we do what we can to make everything work as best as possible. But there's just a lot of fun things that we have. This is kind of more of like our fun, like crown of thorns. Then we also have like our wax lamp, which is a Hoya. A lot of these are pretty common house plants that people will have, as well as your prayer plants over here.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of my favorite ones because it's so big. Like most people are used to the smaller little ones of having in their house, but that one is just a great like centerpiece.
You probably wouldn't see things even this big in the wild because they'd get blown over in storms or eaten.
And it just depends on where they are. Like the philodendrons that we have back in the corner, those guys definitely can get pretty large, even in the wild. But a lot of people don't realize that those are actually a low light plant. When they grow in their natural environment, they're under the canopy, like in the forest. So they don't get a ton of light. And people just don't think because it's a tropical plant that they can grow it. There's a lot of tropical things that you can grow in your house because of where they
The low
naturally grow.
light,
Like
yeah.
they're growing in lower light. They don't need a ton of water. And so there are certain things, like our pony palm here, we only water this twice a year. And part of the reason being is you can see like the base of it has such a water base. I mean, it basically holds water that if we watered it anymore, it would get bigger and it would break its box. And then we would have a mess on our hands. Like, it's kind of like the same thing like with this little guy right here. Like the more you water it, the more it will swell. But they grow in areas that go through long drought periods. And so that's why we're able to only water it a very certain amount of time. And then they utilize what water they absorb and then just kind of are able to thrive that way. So they go on like the monsoons. And then some of our flowers that we do have in bloom, if we right now have a bunch of our orchids in bloom. So we have a bunch of different collection of orchids. This is a bamboo orchid. This is kind of like your more common like Phalaenopsis, and the same thing with these. A lot of people will see these in grocery stores and will buy them and take them home.
And then
so
kill
those are
them.
Kind of more common things that people have. I don't know if we have on this today. So we do also have like kind of some of your more standard like Christmas or Thanksgiving cactuses. This one has a little bloom spike and there's a little bloom there. One of our gals that used to work here but has moved on because she moved out of state, she grafted a Christmas cactus onto another
Oh
cactus
my
to try to make
gosh.
a Christmas tree cactus. So we do like to try fun new things here and do experiments and work with different things and kind of even expand our own knowledge. But some of these other cactuses as well, they're very old. We had one of them bloom this summer, which was just spectacular. And like even for us, it brings us joy to see like, these little things. So this is just a miniature of the morning, evening, night. And then we also have a snow bush over here. Which I really like this guy as well because it's got the variation, which I kind of laugh. I'm like, why do they call it a snow bush? Because it grows in a very warm climate. I laugh about some of the things. But you can see the variations like through the leaves and everything else. And so there's a lot of fun stuff that we have. So most of everything that's in here is all included here for larger garden planters. Whereas in our solarium, and I don't know if maybe we should get everyone together so we can all wander down into there.
Oh, wow.
Everything is planted into the ground in our solarium. As well.
Okay.
So I have birds in there, which you can probably hear in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be great. I'm like, I know there's so much stuff to look in here. It's hard to.
Okay, I think people are coming.
Well,
So this is probably one of the largest birds of paradise you will see. Unfortunately, I have never got to see this one bloom. We do have another one that's in the corner that was blooming, which I kind of laugh that we have the bird of paradise across from our little bird.
Oh.
So we have about 5 cockatiels and 2 parakeets in here that we take care of. Some of them have been here for quite a while. A few of them were donated recently, and so we kind of help people out here and there if we can. And they're very feisty right now, even though they were already fed this morning. You can see in this facility how long this has been here. This is a rubber tree, which is in the ficus family, and you can obviously tell it has gotten fairly large. We prune these at least twice a year, every single year, to keep their height, because otherwise they would try to grow too big. We also have another one over here in the center that has been here for quite some time, as well as we have a fig tree that actually produces figs. Sometimes you have to watch for them in the summertime when they're ripe and they will fall down. But we definitely have to do the same thing with this. Because it's been here, it's so well established, we have to keep them pruned to where they can stay contained in the facility that they're in. These are banana trees here in the side, which most people would think that a banana is actually a tree. This is actually one of the largest herbs on the planet because it does not create a woody stem. It is considered an herb and not a tree. They will produce bananas, and once they've fruited, then the tree will die back. Typically, we will cut them off, but they will continue to grow. You can see, like, this one has a little puff right here. So these 2 haven't fruited yet. We had one last year on the other side that fruited, and then we took it down, and now it's already growing new bananas. So we have a cycling of different plants that come through here. If you've ever been to Hawaii, these are banyan trees. They're kind of a common thing that you would see over there. Same thing. We have to continuously keep them pruned so that they can stay contained in the facility, because otherwise they would kind of grow through the ceiling. And it really shows how long they've been here, how well established they are. And it's pretty impressive that we're able to have these. This was the original facility that was built here, and then the tropical house was added on.
Can you remind me, the public's allowed to come, and how do they access
So
it?
the public is allowed, we're kind of just like a park or a library. We're open 7 days a week, even on holidays. We're open at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we close at 3:30 during the week, so Monday through Friday. On Saturday and Sunday, we close at 3 o'clock. But we have 2 different entrances. We're handicap accessible. Like, you just come to the Russian Jack Park. There's parking here at the greenhouse for them. And it is a great place that come. There's no charge. It's free of access. People can do rentals. We have people that rent the facility for weddings. We have people that rent the facilities to have other meetings and things like that. You contact the Parks Department and get a permit through them, and then you're able to use the facility. It is open to the public during any type of rental. So if you are having a wedding, people are still allowed to come in. Typically, most people will see it, but we've had weddings, a couple of them down here in the summer. There's been some up in the tropical house. We have a lot of professional photographers that come in and take photos of their clients here just because there's really great backdrops. And it's a really neat experience because the kids love to come here. A lot of parents bring their kids here, especially on snowy weather days or even during the summertime when they just want to do something different. Because we have like the fish ponds and then the different things, they can come in, talk with their friends, and the kids get to look around and see things that they've never seen before, like bananas, or like, in a sense, like some of the birds, or like even the fish. Like, so there is a lot of different fun stuff that we have. And we are doing more program classes. This year we're doing the Green Thumb series. We started it last year. So we have, I think, about 12 classes. Tonight we are going to be doing the class with the Houseplants 102. I know we're doing a Dahlia class, which me and Richard will be teaching. We have a propagation class. I know Luis is going to be teaching a class on how to do tree care. And so we are trying to reach out more to the community to be able to share our knowledge that we have and be able to help people manage their gardens and their greenhouses and things like that.
Do you still have class openings?
I'm sorry?
Do you know if we still have openings in some of the classes?
I don't. I think the Houseplants 102 is full, but I believe the other classes still have openings. So, but if you go to the park's website, you can find out more information there. And it's called the Green Thumb series. So if you look that up, go to the park's site, and all the information will be there. Actually, there's a flyer on that door. It is a little wet from condensation, but it shows you just the different list of the type of classes that we have. new, I guess, additions this summer was we had baby goldfish. It was kind of unexpected, but one day I looked in our pond over here and you can see them, and I was like, why are there minnows in there? And we have lots of baby goldfish. So everyone gets to take all the goldfish today. But one thing we have been doing in here is we have been doing some more kind of trial and error. We have a few sponges where they're colder. I still am kind of mystified how bird of paradise lives in this corner over here, which is one of the coldest corners of this greenhouse. But it grows. We just cut off this bent limb on it, but it still amazes me that it's trying to be next to this cold door. Breezes come in. So we are doing some new plantings. We just put some pineapples down here to see how well they would do. We do like a later stage fern in the back. So we are trying a few different things to add into some of our items to kind of put on a little bit more ground cover. But you can see there's another banana tree. We cut back a lot of the vines this year to kind of help let them thrive and clean stuff up. This is a hibiscus tree that's above us that we keep fairly well pruned back as well because they are well established and they want to grow. It's amazing if you come in here versus the summertime versus the fall. A lot of the tree pruning we typically do early spring or fall because if we did it in the middle of the summer we would sunburn the understory. And a lot of people don't think of plants getting sunburned, but it is very, very a thing that can happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of like us going out of state. Like you just go from here to Hawaii, like you're gonna be fried. Same with the plants. So we have to, in a sense, get them acclimatized to everything. We have a bleeding heart vine over there on the wall that's in full bloom right now. And I was hoping that one day this bird of paradise would bloom for me, but we'll see. I was hoping that maybe like the summer of 2019 when it was really hot. I was like, this is the year. But so far, I love it. But I think we've pretty much covered everything that's in our tropical and solarium. I know you would like to show them the facility on how it is that we do the rest of our horticulture, or do we still?
Sure.
It's completely up to you.
I'll take some direction from the chair if we were to go to, should we continue to report, please visit another building?
I believe so.
We can't stop, so we'll just bring our couple viewers along for the ride.
If we go to the other building, the walkover isn't as scenic as this.
Okay,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Some of the new plants that are growing that'll go in the field this
Okay,
So,
cool.
All right, one thing I will ask, if we go into any greenhouses that do have new plants growing, please do not touch anything. Sanitation is a big key in our success on being able to grow things. So that is something that we definitely will ask you. I know it's hard when you see a little plant, you just want to poke at it and touch it. And so that is just something that we please would emphasize. But feel free to ask questions, look at stuff, and if you want to know more information or a process, like please, like we are happy. Rich and I are here to help answer any questions that you have. So we're going to go into our seating area.
they're hand watered and yeah, the hoses are all lined up.
Oh yeah, walking out from the LED lights. So this is where we do all of our seating. We start everything here from this point of the process, then everything grows into what we call greenhouse 1, which is right here. So if you've ever been downtown and seen our lobelia baskets, these are the starts for those lobelia. So once everything is started off here, they will then, what I say, graduate to our further greenhouses. I guess we could walk into the back and show germination chambers real quick. And if you ever want to jump in, Rich, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. I feel like I'm on tour. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Lobelia, you said.
Lobelia, yes.
These are plants?
Most of them.
Most of them.
Most of them.
That's
So I'll walk you back further back here. So So these are our germination chambers. So once they are started, we put them in here to help expedite their germination or the starting of the seed. These are all climate and humidity control. It provides great success for what it is that we're trying to do. We're trying to grow 70,000 plants from seed.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of timing things that go on,
Sorry.
as well as we need certain things to happen at certain times, and if we have issues with certain crops, we need to know as soon as possible so that we can really reseed and go from there. So this one primarily most of what happens one initially. This time of the year is when we do all of our seed starting here. In the summertime, this is where we grow our oysters and drops.
Oh.
A lot of people think it's being grown in the summertime.
Right.
But when it's being ready by November, December, they have started.
Okay. So you grow all of the plants and flowers that we see in the baskets and the pots around town?
All of the plants that go into the parks and to downtown, all the baskets we grow from seed. The only
Wow.
thing we don't grow from seed is going to be the poinsettia stuff we're going to grow. We get plugs in that are little cone starts.
Oh, okay.
This year, we just
We at least have staff here 7 days a week, including holidays, because we have to be able to make sure that these guys are viable. If they're not taken care of, like, we definitely have to make sure that for them to be able to thrive and fix their things. So I think from here, we're going to go upstairs and out towards, I think we'll stop at the basket house first and then go to greenhouse 10.
Sure.
So I don't know if everyone heard, we're gonna wander to the backside of our compound. We're gonna go visit our basket house to kind of get a better idea of how it is that it goes from seedling to where you see like our lobelia baskets that are downtown, where those little seedling trays then go to next, and then we'll go out to greenhouse 10, which is where majority of our summer crop is grown.
Some people would be like, whatever, it's normal. So,
This is our community break room.
Oh, it's like so nice and warm up here.
I will stop and show you greenhouse 4. So we have multiple greenhouses. Greenhouse 4 is where we grow a lot of our volunteer items. So there are beds that we grow that are planted by volunteers, but we provide everything for them. On the far end, all the bags, those are dahlias that we reuse every single year. You'll see one of our beds down in Town Square that has a ton of dahlias. Those are a lot of the ones that come from there. And so we will pot them up here in about 2-3 weeks and then get them re-going again because they're a tuberous plant that we can reuse. But you can see like we're already starting to stage all of our soil pots. This is one of the greenhouses. We also have an identical one here on the other side that does also have what we call a cold frame on the side of it, but once the dahlias are almost to a certain point, then they go out there. So we definitely try to utilize all the space that we can. Like, it amazes me that we fill these things up. And we also do grow baskets in here that will go down like along the railroad and stuff like that.
Okay.
So all the pots that you see that have been filled in here, like that happens in our basket house right now. And so we'll kind of just get a little bit further of a process to kind of see step by step.
Oh.
Please be very careful. As everyone knows, our parking lots are icy with all the rain that we've gotten, but we definitely try to gravel everything. So we pre-fill all of our pots with soil, we pelletize them, and then we distribute them throughout the different greenhouses. We fill them in basket house. seconds to move down this way. You can still see people coming.
Oh, you might get going there dallying.
So this is where we fill all of our soil pots. We reuse all of our pots year after year as a way, in a sense, to be more renewable. Because they are plastic items, we feel like if they have a useful life, we're going to use them as many times as possible. So we do all our sanitation in these bins behind you. Once everything has been sanitized, we have all the clean items come on this side. As you can kind of see, what Alex is doing is breaking up soil. We use that soil to fill either pots or baskets. Right now, we're filling up terracotta pots for the baskets that typically go downtown along the railroad. You'll see some of those outlaid greenhouse tin here, which is the next place that we go to. A few weeks ago, this place was packed full of soil because you will see how many filled pots of soil we have. When you grow as many plants as we do, you definitely have to have a lot of soil. In the springtime, all of these lines that are above me will drop down. This is where we grow our 350 plus lobelia baskets, probably another like 70.
About 1,500 though.
Yeah. And then we have a lot of the other baskets that go into some of our other greenhouses. But this is where, if you've been downtown and seen any of the baskets, this is where it all starts. Like, it's kind of a magic process to be able to see. And it's step by step. Like, there's definitely be a timing period where we have to do things. We utilize everything that we can. We utilize the space that we can. We used to use the other half of this greenhouse for baskets, but there were sites that we no longer do for some reason. They just aren't. We used to have baskets in that view, but they were just cut from our program. And so we condensed some of our spaces. We use that now primarily for storage and things like that for all of our equipment. But we do still have like different things that are set up for being able to utilize every inch of this facility that we physically can. Like, there are times where I take care of a basket house, I don't have one more hook for a basket. Like, every single irrigation line is plugged in, every single one is ready to go. Like, so we definitely are very efficient on utilizing our space. So it does. It really is amazing. Okay, we're going in.
Hope you guys come back in March when like everything.
Yeah.
Before it goes out. It's this greenhouse. Special place to be.
Oh.
We started collecting perennials when we took over. So yeah, that's Kevin. He does his own thing. We're like essentially fighting them, and then we've got a mothball essentially house over here that now we're starting with the so it's cutting down on our annual cost of putting in perennial parts to the lab. The fire breakout is the 11 pulling out little fruit trees, growing in neighbors over here, and the replant.
So these are geraniums. These are zonal geraniums that we grow. We also have some ivy geraniums, which are the basket geraniums. And these were only seeded 10 days ago.
Oh.
So during the interim, like right now, this side of the greenhouse is utilized for starting these guys. Once, I'm going to say they grow up and graduate, they get resized from the pots that are on the other side of this curtain we'll go past. But we have more basket lines you can see here through every single ribbing of our greenhouse, because like we said, we utilize every single square of space that we can. We plant the numbers so that we know exactly what we're growing. These will all have plants in them here. Coming up. Please be careful getting past our curtain. I will actually hold this.
Thank you. Oh, whoa. It's huge.
And a lot of people don't realize how big this facility is until they're in here.
Wow.
Okay, I was doing it this morning. I'm like, look at this babies. I can still get excited every single year. We pre-stage all of these pots. Every single one of these pots will be filled with a plant here within March and April. Once they've come from greenhouse 1, they get to a growable size. Those plugs get transferred over here, and then we replant and upsize everything. So this is where I would probably say, I don't know, 90% of our summer crop is grown. Rich and I both have worked in this greenhouse. He's been in here for a lot more years than I have, but he has taught me a lot. So it's been a lot of fun being able to work in this facility. But you can see that there are a lot of different things. We use different sizes of pots. We use different ways. All of those baskets will be planted and will also be strung up on these rows. Every single divider you see shows for a different variety of plant. So we have everything mapped out for you ahead of time, so we know exactly the numbers of plants that we're growing, where they're at, and what is going to be grown.
So 5 seasonals, 4 regulars. Plus the snow, plus the baskets, plus the drawing. That's what I did that.
Kind of gets in the middle so everyone can see. So a lot of people don't, when they come in, they have seen the tropical greenhouse, they don't realize how big of a facility that we have here. This area is not open to the public. This is typically only for staff only. Occasionally we do let some people come in for very specific reasons. A lot of that has to do with sanitation reasons because of the fact that there are viruses and diseases and things. If you're a tobacco smoker, a lot of people don't realize that there is something called tobacco mosaic virus that can completely decimate crops. So we are very adamant about sanitation. We typically have gloves in every single greenhouse. If you go from one greenhouse to another, you're changing your gloves, you're washing your hands after meals, because sanitation in greenhouses is very important. It's one key thing that we definitely are very strict about here. We don't let food or drink into the greenhouses. But like all of these round pots that you see behind you, those will all be filled with begonias. So there are quite a few of them. We do a lot of snapdragons, salvias. All of these benches here with the larger square pots will be all of the geraniums that you first saw when we came in. So once those guys have finished growing, they'll come over here. There are other greenhouses that will hold some of those items too. Like we grow things for Girdwood, we grow things for Eagle River, we also grow things for the botanical garden. So we are able to utilize our facility to help other areas here in town within the municipality being able to do what they do. Like they just don't have the structure and the infrastructure to be able to do it. And so we partner with the rest of our parks, whether it's Eagle River or Girdwood, to help facilitate that for them. All of these lines will have baskets on them. There's probably about 600 baskets that grow in here.
Okay.
And then there are other greenhouses. So we do about 1,200 baskets a year. We did also start, as you may notice there on the end, we have compost-only bins because we do have a compost program now where everything that we grow at the end of the season does get composted so that we're able to use those materials back into our park systems, whether we're filling in beds or putting in new turf or lawns. So we're able to be more sustainable and kind of like reuse, renew. And so that's kind of the philosophy that we've moved into. These are capillary mats here on the benches that we water with. So once the plants have established a heavy enough root system, they'll be taken out of their trays and what's called bench. So they'll be spread apart across the benches. And then we're able to use those systems to be able to water our plants into efficiency versus hand water. Initially, we have to hand water with our water wands just for plant care. But once they're to a growable size, then we're able to use the capillary mats, which just saves time, labor, and makes us more efficient. I don't know if anyone has any other questions, so we're going to go back over to the group. I was trying to mosey in this way. So I have to ask, are you guys surprised to see how big this facility is?
Yeah.
And like what it is that we do here? I know a lot of people are blown away. Like they just don't realize what it takes to be able to fill our parks with the flowers and the baskets that we do.
And we were just talking about, there's essentially about 9 of you who are doing this in the course of the winter.
Yeah.
All of this, including the stuff that you're not seeing in the greenhouse, like the snow and all that other work.
Oh, yeah. We're very busy. I know a lot of people are like, you do gardening in the winter? I'm like, you have no idea. Like, the work's not done. And even in the fall time, once the season's done, we sanitize everything. We power spray every single one of these mats. We go through a sanitation process. Like, it is an immense amount of work. But it's something that we all enjoy and thrive. And it brings us, it's kind of like a renewal every year. Like, you're ready to be done with the gardening season. And you're like, okay, let's clean everything. And you're like, all right, let's fill more pots. And then once you have little babies, and you're like, okay, let's get ready for the summer planting season. So it's definitely something that year after year, like, you'll learn something new every single year. And that's what I tell people with gardening. And you can never know it all, even at this facility. Like, even if you're in one area or another, every single year I've been here, I've learned something new. Whether it be in basket housing, in this greenhouse, helping with the seeding, like, you can always learn something new.
Oh yeah.
So one of the main things that we're doing now, all the plant material that we collect, everything, the soil, the plants material goes into the compost area, and then by the winter, springtime, that compost is ready. We apply it again, the roller kill up, and we put it back into the soil. So all the material doesn't waste. It's the raw material that we turn to keep everything back into the plants. So we also have in greenhouse 11, we're reproducing trees too. We're reproducing small trees from saplings, and those trees are going to be used to replace some trees that we're removing in different areas. And we're collecting more trees and more trees there. So trying to kind of, how do you say, complete the circle, you know? But yeah, we're doing trees and we're doing the plants, and everything is trying to keep it a little bit damaged.
And are you all running the spruce beetle removal program too?
Yes, that's another part of my job is working with the tree crew.
Okay.
You know, so one of the main things is the training in improving the, especially in areas that are the trees are dead. We go and remove those trees in areas that are needed. And it takes a lot of work for the tree crew to keep it moving, because a lot of trees are dying throughout the city, as we know. But we keep up the pace, with all the trees removed. Even in the winter time, we just remove some trees around Lake Otis, and we keep working with contractors and keep up with the safety of the city.
And part of what we do is we use our youth employment and parks crews. We work with the BLM. They have a fire break out there. So we'll go out and we'll work with volunteers and the youth crews. We'll pull all these little saplings out of the fire break to essentially reinforce that fire break. Then we'll bring them back here to the greenhouse, and we'll essentially let those trees grow over the course of a couple of years. So kind of as Luis was saying, like a full cycle. As his other tree crews are going out and taking trees out from the beetle kill, we're starting to grow that next stock, and then we'll go out and start to plant those trees back in those areas.
So you're saying that Parks and Rec is part of our public safety network, it sounds like.
Expand the mission.
Beautiful job. What a privilege to be working, for Park Rangers. It's amazing. Well, thank you to these guys. Very knowledgeable guys and really good stuff that I have. Very knowledgeable, a lot of years of experience.
I want to thank you guys for taking your time to come and check out our facilities. I really appreciate it. I know we love it. And I know everybody loves the work that they see, the finished product, but it's really great to see it from the ground up. It's literally from the ground up, because it's a very interesting process. Like, even as a gardener myself, like, just to be able to see how it's done at the facility. Like, I know when I actually did the beginning of the facility, and then I came back to this greenhouse, I was in awe. I was like, oh, that's a great greenhouse. Because, I mean, we grow a lot of plants in here. It is amazing, especially when you see the processes through starting in greenhouse one, from being outside to when they're going out the door and being put into the parks. Like, it's a great thing. And I know the tourists love it, the community loves it,
gardeners. I'm also part of the Alaska Master Gardeners, and they have advocated for us, and they love what they do. I actually was able to give them a tour of our tropical house this summer, and they were very appreciative of being able to learn the same knowledge and different things that they don't necessarily do. So we're definitely a good part of our community, and it's nice to be able to see that.
How many pots are in here? You may have said that and I missed it. Or around. It just seems like so much work to
I mean, there's like
fill everyone's head.
80,000 plants or
Yeah, we got
here.
70,000 plants. Like,
There's 70,000 plants at about, so like that's including our overage, so that would probably be somewhere around like 60,000 pots. So we have like leftovers, we have crop issues or replacements or anything
Yeah.
like that. So,
They're also growing all the flowers for the Adopt a Garden program. So all of the parks that you see flowers, you know, even like thinking about like Raspberry Grove and across the here. So like,
oh, okay.
yeah,
Sure.
essentially. So and then in the neighborhood parks, you know, so they're focusing on the main parks here, but like.
All the
They'll come in
volunteer
for a
beds.
solid like 2 weeks. You'll have volunteers coming in, picking up all the, you know, we'll have them in pallets, you know, we're taking them out.
we've been to greenhouse more. We do what I call our volunteer program. So that's the greenhouse that primarily grows. And I also do we grow all the plants for Eagle River, for Sherwood. We also partner with the Western Cancer Garden, we go plants for them. So we definitely are utilizing our facility to help, you know, continue with community outreach. And I know a lot of people, especially Ellen, that are coming in and working with the volunteers, field volunteer beds. Like they're just so excited to be able to adopt a flower garden and take care of them.
I know, it's like, what's the flowers this year?
I know,
right?
like, what's
You
the
come in
flowers,
and it's
what's
like
the
opening your
design,
Christmas
like what do you
present,
get to
you
do?
know? Yeah.
And they do a great job. I love being able to see that when I do go by some places and I'm like, wait, those are our flowers. I'm like, that's one of our volunteer beds.
Yeah.
Like we don't take care of them in the summer, but we get to still see the beauty that they cause and create for people.
One other thing I think is like maybe not as obvious for people is we grow all the plants we see in the parks from seed, and just kind of in keeping with like our mantra of efficiency. It really is like a very efficient way to do it if you're growing it from seed and you're kind of curating it like every step of the way. Because the alternative, which we've kind of done in the past, is like to order flowers from nurseries in Washington and California. And what you're doing there is like you're getting the fully formed plug, and you're getting the shipping cost and the energy costs and all that, and you're bringing that in here. And whatever problems they had at that nursery, you're bringing
Soils, contamination.
you're
right.
bringing that into here. So growing it from seed, in-house, and keeping it all in-house is the way to go. There's so much more control of the quality of your crop.
Thank you very much.
Sanitation. We were like several times today.
So I
That's why we
check the
emphasize on
my
sanitation, because
campus
it's all about that environmental.
and we might go
You don't get that when you're shipping in plugs from
because they're close to the power line. So I'm
And
gonna
it is
see
very
that the kitchen is
I
three
know
very
it seems like
close
it's
to the
real
power
hard.
line. And then there are 10 in the parking lot that we can remove them in the spring. But they're
Yeah.
one.
The roof on the
You're gonna pay
barn,
$50
I got
for
sold other ones.
Yeah.
The roof.
It's not more.
Okay, yeah,
Talk about the roof.
yeah.
That's what most people don't realize.
Even
Our
those
thing.
people, I
You
told you
go
that
to
the ones
retail
that are close to the
shops,
power
you
line,
see where it costs to buy
I'll send them an email
And that is
see
the markup
they can
value.
come and
We're
check it.
able to
Which
do
is-
the same thing, but we can keep our budgets a lot tighter because of the fact we can't control what we grow and how it's done from step one all the way to the end. And especially now with us having a compost program, that we take everything that we grow during the season and we bring it back here and we compost it. And so now we can utilize that in the product throughout our purchase and doing turf beds and doing other things with other projects. And so it really is a renewable system.
Michael, maybe you're the best to answer this. Don't you have a roof project going on or coming up?
Yeah, we have, our facility maintenance really has identified the need to replace the two roofs of the original two buildings, which
Okay.
date back to, I don't know specifically the year, but I believe it's the 1950s.
Oh.
And this probably isn't the first time the roof has been replaced, but we do, and yeah, we look forward to replacing those.
Cool. Anything else?
Did we get the real star of the show?
Yeah.
get us ready to keep them.
Alright, well, thank you all so very much.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
thank
you.
you.
This has been wonderful, and thanks for all the work you do. It's really great to see the end product of your labors, and it's also really fascinating to see how you get to that. So,
Come back in April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you're moseying around downtown or walking into
Uh-huh.
the Lusac Library and you see all those flowers, you will know where they came from.
And mi casa es su casa.
All right, well, we're adjourned.
Okay.